This episode of Friends starts off like a normal comedy episode, but by the end, it turns into one of the most emotional Chandler stories in the entire show. The gang is sitting around joking about Chandler Bing and his terrible dating history. Everyone keeps pointing out how he breaks up with women for the smallest and weirdest reasons. When Janice gets mentioned, Chandler instantly regrets it because nobody can forget her iconic voice and personality. Right in the middle of the conversation, their downstairs neighbor, Mr. Heckles, shows up to complain about the noise again. He says they're stomping and disturbing his birds. The funny part is, he doesn't even have birds. Then he casually says, I could have birds. It's one of those classic, weird Mr. Heckles moments that makes everyone laugh. The group rushes him off like always, and he leaves saying he's going back to his dinner party, even though it's obvious he's completely alone. That small detail becomes heartbreaking later. A little while afterward, the building superintendent arrives with shocking news. Mr. Heckles has died. And suddenly, the entire tone of the episode changes. At first, the gang reacts awkwardly. They barely knew him, and most of their interactions with him were just complaints and arguments. But as they begin cleaning out his apartment, they slowly realize something disturbing. Mr. Heckles wasn't always the strange, lonely old man downstairs. He used to be young. He had dreams. He wanted relationships. He wanted a life. And now, all that's left is a cluttered apartment filled with random memories and unfinished hopes. This hits Chandler especially hard. As Chandler looks around the apartment, he starts seeing pieces of himself in Mr. Heckles. The awkwardness, the failed relationships, the fear of ending up alone. For the first time, Chandler stops joking and genuinely panics about his future. One of the strongest moments in the episode is when he suddenly says, I'm going to end up alone, just like him. That line changes everything. Because underneath all of Chandler's sarcasm and humor, there's always been insecurity and fear. Mr. Heckles becomes a glimpse of what Chandler thinks his future could become if he never changes. Meanwhile, Phoebe Buffay believes she can still sense Mr. Heckles' spirit in the building, which adds both comedy and emotional warmth to the story. Even in death, Mr. Heckles somehow remains part of their lives. What makes this episode so powerful is how relatable it feels. Almost everyone has experienced the fear of loneliness or the feeling that life might quietly pass by. And the episode takes a character who is basically a running joke and suddenly makes the audience feel sympathy for him. By the end, Mr. Heckles is no longer just the annoying neighbor. He becomes a tragic reminder of how isolation can slowly change a person. And that's why this episode is one of the most underrated emotional episodes in Friends. Because beneath all the jokes, it tells a very human story about loneliness, fear, and growing older alone.